Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I'm going to talk about the Venus-Uranus opposition in Synastry. So if your Venus is opposed to someone's Uranus in Synastry, or vice versa, what does this feel like? What do we have going on here? Because this is actually a really fun and exciting aspect. And it can be quite difficult, but it can also be very rewarding and one of the most exciting relationships of your life. So I'm separating the opposition and the square because I feel like the opposition is a lot easier to harmonize and has the potential for a lot more compatibility than the square. So the square will be a separate video. But both are workable. There's no one aspect that could say that your relationship is doomed. It just shows us the map of the challenges that are there, because if there were no challenges, there would probably be no attraction. So this aspect can really get two people together really quickly. Now, it might not always be in a romantic sense that they're getting together, but there is this feeling, especially with the Venus person, that the Uranus person is awakening their love or their heart or their pleasure senses. The Uranus person is like this exciting, eclectic, eccentric, kind of rebellious person to the Venus person. Now, whether or not that's actually true, that the Uranus person even has these qualities, will be shown by their own natal chart, but the Venus person definitely perceives the Uranus person as some sort of erratic genius person, okay? Or also, they could perceive them as sort of unstable or uncommitted. That's one of the manifestations of this opposition, is that Venus wants commitment and Uranus doesn't. But because it's an opposition, this can sometimes switch, where then it can switch and then Uranus really wants a commitment and Venus doesn't. And we've kind of got this back and forth thing going. And that's one of the reasons why this aspect is so exciting, is that there is this kind of air about it that, maybe this is something different. This is something unique. This is not a normal relationship. And maybe there is something unconventional about it. There could be an age gap. There could be a gap in beliefs about the world, or upbringings are different, or, because it is Venus to Uranus, it could be ideas about money, or maybe, we've got someone who has like a lot of money or someone who doesn't, or we have different ideas about spending money, or different ideas about beauty. This aspect could occur in a relationship where you are so attracted to someone, but they are not your type. You always like brown-eyed girls and now you're with a blue-eyed girl or something like that. Or it could be something even bigger than that. It could be, we're jumping outside of our type in a huge way with the Venus-Uranus opposition. But for some reason, we feel like there's something there, there's some benefit, there is some growth to this relationship. Now, the Uranus person can really feel like the Venus person allows them to be that eccentric or crazy version of themselves. So the Uranus person feels very comfortable to share sort of even embarrassing details about their life to the Venus person. And the Venus person seems like, to the Uranus person, this open-hearted, gentle kind of person that they can let all of themselves hang out and really be themselves with. Now, the Venus person definitely is that role, but at the same time, sometimes the things that the Uranus person will share will make the Venus person think, oh, maybe that's not in alignment with my values, or maybe that's just so far from how I would act. And they can either get a little bit judgy of the Uranus person, the way you act is a little bit crazy, or they can even become more attracted because they feel like, oh, this is a different experience for me. This relationship is going to be like nothing I have ever had. And that could be very attractive. So something that's not often talked about Uranus, the planet in synastry or composite chart, or natal, is that Uranus is the awakener. There is a very spiritual dimension to Uranus. And it's not spiritual in the Neptunian sense where we're like merging souls or something, and Neptunian relationships can kind of get codependent. It's spiritual in the sense of like Aquarian spirituality, like uniqueness activation, like individuality, eccentricity. Like we're really tapping into like divine wisdom and intuition and like a freedom-based love. So what can actually end up happening here is that both people's, but especially Venus, is going to go through this process of like opening their heart to allow a different kind of love that's maybe not what they've experienced before. Maybe it's a more unconditional love. Maybe it's letting Uranus do some things that Venus would not do, and so that could be that this is an open relationship. It could be that this is a long distance relationship. This could be a relationship where they don't live together. This could be a relationship that never becomes a relationship because we give each other so much freedom that's just the way it is. Or maybe we don't have the desire to be committed. Now, you could have this coinciding with Saturn aspects, which is going to make this dynamic exist while we've also got some more committed aspects. So we do want to commit to each other. So you have to look at like everything. This is just one aspect isolated. But yeah, this is kind of the vibe of it. And it can be really exciting. It can be really awakening. It can show that we get together very quickly and suddenly. And we also break up quickly and suddenly. And it can show an off-on relationship. It can show a relationship where probably because of the Uranus person, it doesn't feel stable for whatever reason. And maybe the Uranus person has, other things going on, other baggage that is causing them to be non-committal. But it could also just be that Uranus's individuality is threatening to Venus at times. So it sort of depends on, what the sign of Venus is and how, like, are they more Uranian in nature? Are they able to handle this kind of energy from Uranus? Then this is going to work better, because the energy that Uranus gives is like the most individual, rebellious energy. Uranus has to feel free and has to feel like they can be themselves for them to want to commit to this relationship. And if they have that, then they want it. And Venus can want it too, because it is super exciting, exhilarating. This is one of those aspects where you see each other from across a crowded room and it's just so beautiful and it's so like divine, and it's like you really overshare. Like you can really and not just like in a sexual way, like get together quickly. It's like you actually can get together quickly by sharing a lot of personal things about your life. Or something that I feel like it's not often talked about Uranus as well, is that it removes inhibitions. It allows you to just be yourself, and like it does create this feeling of friendship very instinctively, very early on. And so this relationship can really be like one of those best friend relationships. But there is going to always be this little bit of this theme of Venus being a little bit off put by Uranus's actions, which maybe at times are even cold and hurtful, and it could seem that the Uranus person is, unavailable or just non-committal, right? And that can really hurt Venus's heart. And it could also switch. So they kind of do this dance where Uranus is non-committal for a bit, and then Uranus is wanting to commit, and then Venus is non-committal. And it's like this interesting dynamic, which is common in oppositions, where we have this dynamic going on and then it flips and switches. And so there can be that going on. And then, the other themes that are kind of going on is like freedom versus closeness. But really, if both the partners can just learn to trust, if Uranus wants a commitment for whatever reason, if there's more aspects going on that show actual longevity and not just an exciting fling, this can be that committed relationship where we have different ideas of things, and that makes it exhilarating, that makes it fun, and that makes us excited to be with each other every day because this relationship is unique like no other. Uranus can also find Venus very beautiful. And it's like the Venus person in this case is like the muse of Uranus. And yeah, Uranus person really can love Venus a lot because if Venus allows them to be themselves, they can feel really free and like they have found a true friend who loves them, warts and all. And this aspect could show up in a relationship where you can remain friends, or even if this is not a romantic relationship, this is a great aspect for friendship. It's probably even better for friendship because, we don't place so many demands on our friends, and it's easy to just let your friends be themselves, right? But there's definitely something unconventional about the connection, and it could be that you come from different backgrounds or just different ideas about things, or different, like maybe you look different, you don't look like a couple, or it's just something unique and eccentric about this. And you could end up, you want to look at the composite chart to see what the relationship will end up birthing into the world. But you could end up creating something really revolutionary or really beautiful together with this aspect. So yeah, I'd love to know your experience of this one. Was it like this? Was it not like this? And yeah, have fun with it. It's definitely an interesting one. I'd love to know, your experiences. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.